class, but the professor canceled the class, so it looks like the RNG is in my favor. Put $15 to the Super Metroid rotation and $10 to making the Undertale runner have a bad time. Anonymous donates $5. Guys on a Russian restream, you're awesome too. Davman Dave donates $100. I managed to spend an entire summer doing all of the events in Melee. It's absolutely incredible seeing someone do it in under an hour while providing commentary and an explanation. The money goes to Runner's Choice, just as long as it's kill the animals. Chic FTW donates $75. Just had to donate during my favorite franchise of all, Super Smash Bros. And it was an entertaining run. Okay, looks like we're ready for the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes run, so in that case, Miles, take it away.
Okay, ready for me to count down? 3, 2, 1, go. So what I'm doing here is low percent, which is being the game with as few items as possible. So first of all, I'm going to do item loss skip at the very start of the game. That's going to let me start with missiles, morph ball bombs, space jump, boost ball, and spire ball. And then after that, I'm going to collect 6 further items. Dark beam, light beam, power bombs, screw attack, light suit, and dark visor. And aside from temple keys, those are the only items I'm going to collect for the entire game. Now, if you've seen runs of Echoes before, you may have seen this ridiculous trick at the start. But, hold on. You can just jump through a hole in the ceiling instead, and that is a ton easier, and no one knew about that until a few months ago.
Yeah, so like you're seeing right now, in Echoes, just like a lot of Metroid games, Out of Bounds is going to be a recurring theme because there are many doors that are locked behind specific weapons. So one of the items, specifically Screw Attack, will enable a lot of doors to be skipped. But right now, Miles is just heading to the very first area in the game, which is Aegon Waste, and that's where the first items being obtained will be Dark and Light Beam, which respectively will allow you to enter the Light and Dark world, where this is the Light world right now. So the way Out of Bounds works in this game, which it's a little weird. Think of a bounding box that sort of surrounds every single room, and gravity only really pertains to inside the bounding box. And outside of that sort of boundary for the room, gravity does not exist, and that's what is called Aether. Not the planet, but just ignore the name. When you're in the Aether, you just very slowly float up, but your height is more or less locked. And the way that Miles gained height right there was if just very briefly from exiting the Aether going back into the boundary of the room, there's a very, very small window where you can perform a jump as if you were standing on the ground. So that's the main way Out of Bounds is traversed. But immediately going to go out of bounds again, utilizing this enemy, which is known as the Sand Digger.
Yeah, that's our favorite friend here.
The Sand Digger, while it may seem random, there is pretty good setups to control its movement, where it can just pick up Samus, and while it's grabbing onto you in Morph Ball, you ignore a lot of collision in the room, and just right now we're wall crawling to Dark Beam. So yeah, these are what's known as just Aether jumping, and it's not Terribly difficult, but it can be tricky to do very quickly.
Yeah, it's a 3-frame window, which in this game is about a 20th of a second to be able to jump there. But if you miss it, it's not a big deal. You just fall a little bit, and then you just try again.
Yeah, and sort of while traversing out of bounds, there's going to be just sort of a lot of items or scan posts that'll need to be activated to open up doors and such. And walls in this game are sort of only one-sided, more or less, in terms of what you can see and do actions through. So you can just get all these scan posts to open up doors like this, which you'll exit through later. And then one other thing is, while out of bounds, it's not as simple as walking from room to room. You also need to sort of get on the actual door for the room and trick the game into thinking you're actually going through it, which is called transitioning from room to room. So yeah, this saves a ton of time because there's just a lot of, in the room that's inbounds right there, there's a forced dark, not dark pirate, but just space pirate fight.
Yeah, here's where this out-of-bounds trip really saves time, because right here, normally you're supposed to go to the right and go in this giant circle, but instead I'm going to go to the left and just cut to the very end of that circle instead. If I can stop falling. Also, if you hold R while you're transitioning this door, then the game will crash. So I will not be holding R there.
Yeah, there's a lot of little minor things. Like, in addition, when transitioning to the next room, right as you transition, if you hit L, the game will crash. So you need to be careful to not hold L. Echoes has a lot of weird quirks like that while sequence breaking.
All right, so right there was a scan dash. When you're scanning an item and you do a side jump, you get a lot of speed, and by holding L, I believe, it locks your speed while in the air.
It's not as abusable as it is in Metroid Prime 1, where they forgot to implement a horizontal speed cap, but it's pretty good for what it's worth.
Yeah, so I just got the Dark Beam, which is needed for a bunch of doors and for getting to the Dark World, which is obviously important.
Hey, it's Dark Samus.
There are also going to be two types of enemies in this game, either light enemies and dark enemies, based on which world they're respectively in, and the opposite beam will be a primary source of damage to that type of enemy.
Okay, so this is my first trip to the Dark World. There are 3 major Dark World trips before you get the light suit, and they get progressively harder. So this is the easiest of the 3. So just standard getting to light beam and getting back.
Yeah, so in the Dark World, if you don't have either the dark or the light suit, then you constantly take damage unless you're outside these areas that heal you slowly.
Yeah, you'll take 6 damage per second.
Fortunately, though, that's not as big of a deal as it may seem, because as you go lower and lower in health, basically echoes the way the drop rates for most of the stuff, like enemies and canisters work, is they'll generally prioritize what you need most. So if you're, say, below 20% HP, the chance for an Ultra Energy, which restores 100 HP, will greatly increase.
Yeah, you can't actually get an Ultra at all from most sources unless you're below 20%. But if you're below 20%, then you have a 75% chance of getting an Ultra.
Yeah, so right there was a roll jump.
Yeah, I guess I'll explain roll jumps now. In a lot of surfaces in the game, when you leave the ground, within, say, a third of a second, you can still act as if you were on the ground. So what's happening there is when you roll off the legend morph ball, you can do what's called an instant unmorph, where you get the some sort of obstacle in the environment to obstruct Samus from the camera, and that removes the unmorphing animation, which means you can actually do a jump within the third of a second.
Okay, so like right there, I waited until I was below 20 health so that I'd be able to get an ultra energy there. So you'll see that at several points throughout the run.
And right there was a slope jump. When you jump while moving up a slope, you just gain height. You're gonna see a lot of that, just subtle, but important.
So light beam. This light beam is actually the only item gotten in low percent that is otherwise skippable. But you cannot skip it in low percent because the alternative is getting the Annihilator beam for portals and a ton of other items as well. So you can't get 6% and skip the light beam.
And then you'll see basically a lot of the content in this game is just straight up optional. So you just passed a Dark Temple key there, which is this game, unlike Metroid Prime 1, where these sort of areas are, you sort of go back and forth between them and they're not in a set order. In Echoes, it's basically just, you do Aegon first. This is the first area. Then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one. There's no sort of crisscrossing back and forth between them. So now that Miles has both beams, the next main item that's really on the to-do list is getting screw attack.
Power bombs.
Power bombs and then screw attack. So trip to Torvus is going to be made, but in this game...
Right here I'm having to avoid a pirate trigger, like a trigger that starts a pirate fight.
Yeah, how I mentioned when going out of bounds, there's a long force pirate fight in that room. If you get it while leaving the room, you still have to do the long fight.
Oh, and the light beam just missed the door there. Good, yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, the charged light beam, if you're not locked on, it's just random where it goes, basically. So.
But a lot of these areas have to be exited in very weird, out-of-bounds ways because there are doors behind sort of translator locks.
Hey, Sandigger.
And the colored translators add to your percentage counter, and you can't remove them, so you just have to go out of bounds.
Another thing about the light and dark beams is that they require ammo to use, and using one beam will cause enemies to drop the other beam. So killing with the dark beam will cause them like drop light ammo and vice versa.
Yeah, ammo is very rarely an issue in this run, fortunately. Really fortunately, because you never get any expansions, so you're stuck with 50 for each.
And one other sort of minor thing while out of bounds, sometimes you actually need to hit a point within the room to actually unload the last room to load the next room. So that sort of little detour taken right there to jump on the ground, that was to unload the last room, so this room could be loaded. Yeah,
there's 3 ways to load rooms. A lot of rooms will just load whatever other room you're closest to. Some rooms require you touching specific triggers inside a room to load another room. And otherwise, if you fail to do either of those, you can also load a room by trying to open the door to it, which you can't do for that door because it's a secret door. So my only option is to touch the load trigger.
Yeah, so here we're just going to jump out of bounds.
Earlier when roll jumps were mentioned, the bombs into space jump, they basically work exactly the same way. But right here, the main place we want to be is lower Torvus, but the actual sort of elevator to lower Torvus right now is blocked off by an invisible wall, and the only way to remove that is to kill these space pirates. But unfortunately, killing these space pirates will put you back in bounds, so then you need to go out of bounds and come back into this room to get to the lower Torvus elevator.
Yeah, so you have to do this fight to remove the barrier. Go 4 rooms away to get out of bounds, and then come back here out of bounds when I was out of bounds here in the first place. Okay, that was not what I expected.
You have to be out of bounds going into lower Torvus because there is item you're supposed to get from that fight is super missiles, and there's a super missile door blocking the entrance to lower Torvus.
Now would probably be a good time for some donations, if there are any. It is?
Isn't it? The host.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. First, I just wanted to remind everyone that we actually have the Super Metroid rotation donation here, and it's about $750 down. So we can make that happen. Along those lines, we have T-Camp, who donated $50, saying, "I can't believe rotation has not been met yet. Make rotation happen." Kirby Master donates $100. Kirby Master here. "Hey Miles, sad I couldn't make it to watch the run in person, but good luck on the Echoes run. You'll especially need it for the Chykka and Dark Samus 3 fight. Also, don't forget to dash left. Put this donation towards runner's choice."
I don't actually know what donations are coming up.
Pretty sure we can just decide that later.
There's always rotation.
I refuse to dash left, though.
Icefire donates $500.
Whoa.
He just says, "Someone stream Prime." James C. donates $50. "You guys are all doing a great job selflessly giving your time for events like these, even if you're trying to get through it as fast as possible." Dragon Breath 4 donates $20. "First time watching. Recently got into the Metroid series, so I felt this would be appropriate time to donate. Lots of respect for everyone involved. Remember to kill the animals." Leon130 donates $100. "Time for cancer to end. Let's go, Miles. Do your best. Wubba lubba dub dub."
And I guess one thing to mention is the main way you're getting back in bounds in these areas is before the collision or any of the actual room is loaded, you're getting inside where the sort of boundary of the room is and just having it load around you.
Another aspect of the ether is that while you're in Morph Ball, you are completely unaffected by it, so you will fall through until you hit something.
Yeah, so that giant detour was to get me to the room right next to where I was. But fortunately, I can't do anything
The
about
perks are skipping items. Can't open doors.
So there's actually going to be a couple of things going on in Lower Torvus right now. So the way this area needs to be exited is kind of weird, and since Seeker missiles will never be acquired in this run, a Seeker missile door needs to be unlocked. So using a Morph Secret World, which is basically where you get into a specific spot in some door frames and morph, the game will just drop you out of bounds. And he's going to go behind a Seeker door, and on the other side of the Seeker door is basically just going to be a normal door, and if the room is loaded and opened from that side,
that is a lot harder than
the
it looks,
Seeker
by the way.
lock is basically just going to disappear, and that's going to be a necessary route later on when leaving this area.
Yeah, so I opened the door, so now the secret door is gone. And it's at, I can get here, this next room in bounds, but it's like I'm already out of bounds, so might as well just stay out.
And coming up is going to be the boss Powerbomb Guardian. And Powerbomb Guardian is a very annoying boss fight to do in low percent, as well as just this entire sort of section of the run, because even leaving the boss fight is going to be extremely dangerous with a lot of high damage enemies and Dark Aether.
Yeah, as mentioned near the start, you start with Fireball, so that's why I'm able to Fireball here. Yeah, but This is definitely one of the most fun parts to do with no energy tanks and no dark suit and no anything. Yeah, so this is the second of the 3 major Dark World trips, which, as I've said, they get progressively harder, so there's going to be something even harder than this later on.
Oh man.
Fortunately, though, using just drop below 20% HP and your chance of getting yellow energy to restore a lot of HP is high, but
Unless, of course, there's...
existing energy
Yeah.
already out.
yeah, that's the thing, that if there's already existing drops, it will add those to your current health when calculating what to drop. So the game basically considered me to be at 50 health, since that 30 health drop was there.
Yeah, so not only will defeating this boss give power bombs, but defeating this boss is
Why are you...
sort of like Metroid Prime 1, where it has artifacts that are required to access the final area.
Okay.
This game has Sky Temple keys, which are required to access sort of the final section
There
of
you
the
go.
game. And one of the Sky Temple keys, which is in Lower Dark Torvus, will not spawn until
Yes!
it's defeated.
I got the door. That was stupid.
So there's a power bomb door up there, and the power bomb shot out by PB Guardian can actually just open the door up for you.
How nice of him.
And basically, when exiting this area, though,
One important thing to note right here is that if you let a cutscene play out while in the safe zone, you'll continue to heal during the cutscene. So just let it play out so I could heal for a little while. So I was at like 10 more health when I started the cutscene.
Hey, the door just opened for you.
one thing that will be acquired, though, is these Dark Temple keys, which are required to access sort of the boss of an area. The boss of Torvus is required because you can't actually collect Sky Temple keys until you have the item that's dropped from the boss of Torvus.
Yeah, so I just got the power bomb switch, or needed in various places, but the main reason you get it is because there's a Sky Temple key that just does not exist until you have power bombs.
So yeah, leaving this section is pretty scary because the tentacles that are coming out of the wall do a lot of damage.
Yeah, this Dark World trip isn't actually over yet. I just have to take that little detour to get some help.
These enemies are extremely annoying hunters. They're defeated by entering like the energized light safe zone.
Oh!
This is the downside of 6%. You do not have enough HP, and if the game just doesn't like you and gives you the very low odds of not getting the ultra, or at least a larger form of health, you just have to wait.
Yeah, so that's
Safe
a
zone.
75% chance of an ultra, a 50% chance of a large, and a 30% chance of a medium, and I failed all of those. So,
Fortunately, there's a safe zone here, and save stations will restore all of your HP.
yeah, just have to make sure I can actually survive to get to the save station in the first place.
Yeah, there's lots of points where this run could just die due to the game being echoes, so there's going to be
This is a
plenty.
very unforgiving run.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of saving.
Then doing that little dash there saves needing to rotate the center column in the room, which is just a lot of extra time spent taking damage from Dark Aether's atmosphere.
Okay, so hopefully I will get lucky here and actually get a good drop, and I did. Okay,
All right.
because if you don't, and it happens a lot, you're just screwed.
And this boss, you're just gonna piece out of because you're not supposed to have power bombs at this point in the game. But if you do, you can just immediately blow that wall up and drop down into the lower area, I believe.
See ya, Grapple Guardian.
Yeah, now I can never get grapple because even if you come back, the boss will still be there, but defeating the boss doesn't do anything. I went way earlier than I was supposed to. That's not good.
And that secret ore removed earlier is going to be used now, so he can get into the area where there will be a teleporter to go to Sanctuary, which is the area that contains Screw Attack.
Well, first let's hopefully not die here like a moron. Just rolling into a wall is probably not the best thing to do. I'm alive! Okay. So that's the second major Dark World trip over. Unfortunately, there's the cache right to my left. I start, so that will hopefully put me right back at full health.
In addition to...
that is not health.
In addition to Screw Attack, which is one of the major items required for skipping a lot of the doors that require items to open, the other item being rushed is Light Suit, which makes it so Dark Aether does no damage to you. And it just makes traversing infinitely more convenient.
Yeah, so right now I'm just going to Sanctuary. There's an interesting trick coming up where I have to move the statue and I have to get up to it without having gravity boosts. So it's a little interesting to get up there.
Gravity Boost is the item you're supposed to get here, which gives you free movement in water.
Yeah, so right here, that's Dark Samus, which I never actually fought earlier. So I don't care about her. So now I can get to Sanctuary. There's some downtime for a little while here, just going through Sanctuary, so if there's any other donations to read.
Okay, we've got a couple of these. First off, I want to say that we did complete the bonus to play Super Metroid Rotation, so thank you very much, everyone who donated. Along those lines, we had Nildewen donate $750, making rotation happen. There you go. Quinn donates $25. Hi, Miles. First time watching live, but I love all your Metroid Prime runs. Loved playing the game as a kid and love watching you destroy it even more. Good luck, and here's to a successful Grand Abyss.
There's a power bomb door right up ahead, and the game should be prioritizing power bomb drops right now, but...
it's only an 84% chance of getting a power bomb, so sometimes you just don't get it, and then you just have to leave and be certain. There we go. Not much I can do about that. Also, thank you for that donation.
Yeah, we're getting some pretty bad luck with drops this run.
I've seen worse. I haven't died because of bad drops yet.
So, other donations okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Marks donates $10. Hey, AGDQ. Love watching the marathon every year, and Metroid is one of my favorite series. Put these $10 towards Super Metroid Rotation. Good luck with the run, Miles. Also, Twitch chat, if I can get 200 Franker Zs, I will donate an additional $10. Griffin McElroy donates $100. Me and my 6-week-old baby have been watching nonstop AGDQ since his 3 a.m. feedings, which has helped me maintain my sanity in a major way. Thanks for all the great runs. Putting my donation towards the final PAM in Fallout New Vegas. I do this.
So this is just kind of a minor time saver right here. There's supposed to be this giant sort of rotating section of platforms that you should be stopping, but you can actually just go out of bounds and pass right through it. But coming up is going to be the real big sequence break here, which I'm sure a lot of people have probably heard memes of it, but Grand Abyss is coming up, which is you should have Grapple Beam going to get Screw Attack, but if you don't, you need to do a very precise dash to cross the gap, and you get one shot at it because the only time, basically there's going to be a robot enemy that Miles needs to land on from a scan, and the enemy, he needs to dash off of an enemy, and the enemy that he dashes off of will only fly by the first time you ever enter the room.
Like, there's a tunnel, and once you leave the tunnel, it starts moving, and it doesn't stop, and if you leave, it doesn't come back. So I only have one shot to do this trick.
Fortunately, there is an alternative method.
It's a very slow alternative method, so hopefully I will not have to do it.
Right there was a roll jump to basically go to the other side of the room and despawn, causing it to spawn you on top of there instead of having to go around.
Okay, here we go. Yes!
Oh, we got it.
And that's when you can apply.
That is an applause.
The alternative to missing that and keeping the run single segment wastes around 4 minutes of just very slow and tedious wall crawling.
And here we just got some side dashes and scan dashes.
Yeah, I'm still stressed until I get to a safe station.
This is another room that you are supposed to have a grapple beam to cross, but by either using the first little enemy in the room as a platform to get to the other side, or with a dash, you can just immediately get to these platforms without needing to go into the dark world and use grapple beam.
I just realized I think the sound is reversed on my headset.
That's awkward.
Yeah. I should actually do something about that in a minute.
And as PX mentioned earlier, if you get the terminal fall, which is where you fall out of bounds and get respawned, if you hit a certain trigger in points, you can choose where the game actually respawns you at. Yeah, so Screw Attack is the item that entirely breaks this game. Sort of the main gist of why it's really silly is when you're Screw Attacking, your hitbox is a Morph Ball's hitbox, but you can cancel your Screw Attack and immediately go into Samus's standing position, and if you go inside of a Morph Ball tunnel and then cancel your Screw Attack, that is a very easy way to get out of bounds almost anywhere.
Gotcha. Okay. It's bad if you miss that, because then you have to kill the pirates so they don't kill you in return.
So yeah, Samus is not supposed to fit inside Morph Ball holes, so the game just throws you out of bounds.
That was also applause-worthy because every time you Screw Attack or grapple across that room, that's definitely sure to impress any viewers.
Yes.
Hello? There we go. Thank you. The pros at Nintendo Power, they know how to make all the viewers go crazy.
All right, so here we're just going to save so we don't have to do that again.
Saving is also pretty applause-worthy.
Just a quick break here. And this is when the game starts breaking apart.
Yeah, so now, since I said earlier, you're supposed to basically do these areas in order, starting with Aegon, then Torvus, and then finally Sanctuary, and you're supposed to fight the boss of the area. Defeating the boss of this area, well, sort of the idea of this game is in each one of the 3 worlds, since there are 2 worlds, the Ing, which is the alien race, they've stolen the energy and taken it to the Dark World. So you need to go defeat the boss, then go to the energy controller, and you can steal back their energy. And when you bring the energy back, sort of the leader of the Luminoth, he will give you a prize. And the prize for giving back the final energy is the light suit. So, yeah. One
Right
other
now-
thing that's happening right
Yeah,
now.
we need to talk about Cannonball. So
Okay.
right now, I'm about to set a glitch that lets me keep this Cannonball state. Whenever you enter a Kinetic Orb Cannon, you're put in a state called Cannonball. And what I'm going to do here is unload the room while I'm like in mid-flight from being shot from the cannon. And I'm going to keep that state for the entire rest of the game, hopefully.
Yeah. So in the Cannonball state, while you're in Morph Ball, you are completely invulnerable to all sources of damage. And you also deal 500,000 damage per frame to certain enemies and 1 boss.
You'll see when we get there.
So yeah, to basically get past the boss, to get the energy to restore, you need to traverse a lot of the Dark World, which will be done while invincible with the Cannonball glitch.
Yeah, so the room with the cannon just unloaded. So now I have Cannonball basically forever. The only ways that'll get rid of it is if you use another cannon, which fortunately in this run is easily avoidable, or if you die or reset. So I will hopefully not be doing either of those. But unfortunately, that means I cannot save here because it'd be pointless because I'd have to go set up Cannonball again anyway. So this is the most difficult, longest part of the run coming up.
Also, way back when we first got out of bounds to set up the Cannonball glitch, we used the screw attack to get into a Morph Ball area, and then used another one to bounce into another Morph Ball area to clip out of bounds, because one wasn't enough to get out of bounds.
And this is going to be a little shortcut to...
Yeah, so I just screw attack into the corner and you're out of bounds.
Skip this door right here.
Yeah, this is just a bit faster. There's another portal you can take, which is a lot safer, but evidently I don't care about being safe.
So this is the 3rd and last trip to the Dark World
Yep. Well,
without the light suit.
there's one trip later that takes like 5 seconds, so it doesn't really count. But yes, this is the last major trip. The most difficult by far.
All right, so we're out of bounds already.
And again, by abusing where the terminal fall is, you can just spawn on the other side of this room, which is sort of divided into 2 halves.
Oh, that's a lot of health there.
And coming up for a little bit is going to require a lot of concentration, so just
Yeah.
gonna be quiet for this.
Yeah, as you saw there, while in Morph Ball, we don't take any damage from the Dark Aether as well, so it's necessary to make this possible.
That's right there, once again, waiting until under 20 health, which doesn't help me at all, because it doesn't give me an ultra. And that doesn't give me anything, so I have to wait here for 30 seconds until I'm back at full health. Thank you, game. Yeah, so now for basically, for a while I have to stay in Morph Ball so that I don't take damage. So I will be bomb jumping very slowly across like all the rooms here for a while.
Yeah, so we mentioned how the ball isn't affected by Aether, which means that in order to actually move around rooms, you have to collide with everything. So we will use just about every object we can to just move around the room.
Yeah, and this is insanely stressful because it is so easy to fall off sometimes, and if you fall off, you're just dead. And long time without saving, and
Having to
Also
sit up.
needing to set up Cannonball again.
Yeah.
yeah. Like, this section right here is why I gave a pretty generous estimate to my run for this marathon. Because if this goes wrong, that's just a ton of time gone. There's nothing you can do about it. Hopefully it goes well.
Oh boy.
So if there's any time for reading donations, it's gonna
Right
be
now. Right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I can help you with that. So Elegant Fugue donates $50. Wait, you guys haven't gotten Metroid rotation in yet. You're being kind of slow about that. Maybe try some OOB clipping to get it faster. Here, I'll chip in to help. So we made that Elegant Fugue, so thank you very much. JRP2234 donates $20. Miles, you are playing the wrong game. This is not 0% fusion. You seem to keep playing the wrong game. Good luck, Miles, from the back couch.
Thanks. Okay, so right here, I'm going to very briefly unmorph since there's a spot at the end of the room that you just cannot safely bomb jump over because there's these rotating things.
There have been some fun adventures when you Miles falling in there.
Yeah. So getting down to the door there is pretty scary. So, you cannot see the walls from the other side, but I am bomb jumping up the wall right now. So what I'm going to do here is bomb jump up to the very top, and then I'll get outside the room's boundaries, so I'll just be able to walk straight across, and then fall down on the other side.
Yeah, so that giant thing down there is a boss fight.
Hopefully this goes well, because if not, then that's about it.
Yeah. If not, we're going to have some time for more donations.
Okay, I can help with that.
Okay, this is actually really difficult because what
Yeah.
was supposed to happen there is the speed from falling was supposed to let you go inside, back in bounds with what's called a ceiling warp. But since that didn't happen, this loses a lot of time. But this is really the only alternative because you need to unmorph to do the ceiling warp. So in the energy controller in the next room, when you first get to it, there's a trigger that will restore all of your HP and activate the cutscene for retrieving the energy, and you can get to that trigger from out of bounds. So just more very slow bomb jumping while being
Yeah.
very, very careful.
Yeah,
not
this
to
part's
fall.
really risky at coming up.
So normally, if you clip in, you're supposed to trigger this room here with the bomb, and that basically causes the room to rotate, allowing you to go to the other side. But since that didn't happen, we don't have to go to the other side manually.
Well, the main thing though is you can just roll in bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead I have to do this, which is scary as hell if stuff like that happens. So
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, you're also dealing with the camera a lot this part.
oh, shoot! What's
Where are
going
you?
on? Oh, it's crap.
Okay,
Okay, I got
we're
it.
good.
Okay, I'm safe now.
Oh. It's not over yet.
Yeah. This is the halfway point.
Now we have to make the return trip. We have to make the return trip, and we still haven't saved yet.
If it wasn't immediately apparent, this is just absolutely very dumb.
Yeah, one mistake, and you're pretty much dead.
Okay, so this, unfortunately, there is no alternative but to just stand here until my health is full. So this is a great time for donations.
Okay, thank you very much. Philip Stevens donates $5. Hey Miles, Antidote here. Thanks for running one of my all-time favorite and probably one of the most borked games of all time. Hacking Metroid Prime and learning a ton with you has been fun, so I hope you have a good run. Also, this donation goes to Miles' Choice.
I'll say to kill the animals.
What?
General Peaches donates $50. Have to donate during my favorite Nintendo franchise. Putting this towards saving the animals since they were killed in the last 3 GDQ runs. Fierce Deku donates $10. Had to donate for the first try Grand Abyss.
Okay, this is another stressful part. I have to very carefully stand on top of the door and bomb jump up. Because if I roll too far, then I get stuck on the ceiling like that when I try to get up. Okay, I did. Map is on the proper room. That's what I need to happen. Which is why I have to like very carefully stand on the side door closest to this room. It's another very scary part. This whole thing is an insanely scary part that...
It's almost over.
Somehow I got this run to the marathon. I do not know how. Shit. Ooh. Sorry about my swearing there, but that was that. I should be dead right now. Like, definitely, like completely. I may still be dead. We'll see.
Like we said, the bomb. In order to move out of bounds with the bomb, you have to stick to any sort of anything you can find. So if you missed an object, then you're gonna fall infinitely. Camera?
Bomb jumping near doors is extremely annoying, not just because you can easily fall, but also because you actually need to make sure that the game doesn't think you're flip-flopping between rooms and you're put on the wrong room.
Okay, another heal here for a little while.
Okay.
I should be dead. I should not have survived that bounce. But I honestly do not know what happened there because I should have fallen off. That should have been the end. I'm going to wait a lot longer than I normally do because.
Sometimes marathon luck works for the best.
Just getting a single segment run of this is hard.
If it says anything, for as popular as the Metroid Prime series is, there are exactly 3 single segment runs of 6% on the leaderboards.
Yeah. There is one more scary part for this coming up. So, there are some dark troopers that I have to not get killed by.
Oh yeah, and for each of these bomb jumps, Miles has to uncling to whatever he's clinging onto, and then hit the bomb, and then stick back to whatever he was trying to hit. So it's a lot tougher than it looks.
And then after transitioning, it's just going to be a terminal fall to get back in bounds into the next room. But there's going to be a bunch of cool space pirates shooting at you when you only have 25 HP in Dark Aether.
Yeah, one minor note is that you do take damage from terminal falls because it forces you to unmorph before the damage.
Okay. Oh, we're out of there.
Why did I submit?
Now we just need to hit a save point before something go happen.
Can we get some more applause for screw attacking across watch station access? That one was for the fans.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to save yet because there's like nothing risky coming up. It's a nice thing about having a glitch that makes you invincible to everything possible.
And where he's going right now is after you get the energy from the dark world, you need to return it to the exact same spot in the light world.
So that enemy was weak to Cannonball.
Yeah, 500,000 damage to that enemy right there.
In a single frame.
I cannot believe I actually. Now, there are more difficult things coming up, but they're not as difficult, and they don't cost 10 minutes if you fail.
So now we're just returning the energy they stole back to where it came from.
But now, since I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of the translator doors, and you don't have any translators, getting back to the temple, which actually you haven't entered before, is going to be incredibly annoying, and you're going to wall crawl all the way to the original entrance of this area, which is going to be a very long and very scary thing because he has to use a screw attack at one point.
This
Kobe.
part is great.
Kobe.
And when you screw attack out of bounds, if there's nothing to actually land on and get your screw attack completely canceled, that's just it, and you need to reset. And
Yeah.
that's also losing Cannonball, which is very bad.
So every time Miles screw attacks out of bounds, it is very scary. Because that could just be the end of the run right there.
And the reason why this particular exit path is going to work is because
save, please save.
the entrance to Sanctuary from Temple Grounds is actually in a room that has two separate instances. One before a cutscene, and the translator door does not exist before the cutscene. And since you haven't been in that room yet, well, no door. Heck yeah, give it up for watch station access.
Yeah, the last time we're going to see this incredibly impressive. I think buying the Nintendo Power Guide for this game was worth it just for that. Yeah, it's important here to not go down the path that has a missile expansion, which would have been if I went right there.
Then there's just going to be some shenanigans to get into a Morphball tunnel in this area.
Yeah, so this is the last trip in the Dark World before Light Suit, which like lasts 5 seconds. I just need to get to another part of this room, part of the Light World version of the room where you can get out of bounds.
And say hi to the laggy Darking Smasher.
Yeah, if you have Cannonball and roll next to it, it just lags like crazy for some reason. This one is actually a bit tricky, so like that. And that turret is trying to kill me from the other side of the wall. Oh, come on.
Oh, come on. First try.
So screw attacking out of bounds is always a terrible idea.
Oh no.
Because while there's a lot of collision, not all of the collision on the ceilings and everything, most of it is not a standable spot. And if you can't actually stand out of your screw attack, you're just stuck in the falling animation.
Forever.
Forever. They were considered to put respawn plane out of bounds.
So that's a really large invisible spot you can land on. Now once again, I'm going to get above the room and just walk across the top.
And then there's going to be one final screw attack in this area, which is the scariest, because you just have a tiny spot by the door to land on.
Yeah, so only one that's actually risky. So. Of course, sometimes I can fail to just land on a door here, and that's also terrible. Okay, so
Okay.
that was actually really close.
Oh my god. Please don't do that again.
I really hope I don't do that again. Whoops. Out of sanctuary. This is so stressful. Unfortunately, there's a save session coming up really soon.
Yeah, so leaving this room, if you trigger the cutscene in the next room, there should be a Cobalt translator door. But since the cutscene
It's an Emerald translator gate, but it's not actually an Emerald translator gate. It's colored that way, but it actually opens with violet, because who knows?
cool game.
Like, you're not supposed to be able to get there until you have Emerald, so it doesn't actually matter in normal gameplay. Yeah, so now I'm going to Great Temple, like after I've been to every single other area.
There may be some slight sequence breaking in this run.
Save.
Here's the first forced fight of the game, except you have space jump.
And apparently they died to Cannonball.
I just love showing that off. Those die instantly. 500,000 damage to those splinters with 60 HP each.
A bit overkill.
Okay, so there is a trigger coming up that gives you Violet Translator, which counts towards the percent, so I have to jump over it right there. And so, light suit. Now the game gets much easier after this point, because I don't have to worry about taking damage in the Dark World, and I don't have to worry about taking damage while morphed, so.
And sort of the main reason these things are required outside of just the obvious being able to traverse the Dark World, there are some Sky Temple keys that are underwater in Dark Aether, and you can't actually go below water in Dark Aether until you have the light suit. And the item that you get from the boss of Torvus, which right now he'll be collecting the keys to gain access to the Torvus boss, that's required to pick up a Sky Temple key at all.
Yeah, there's 3 keys required to fight Chykka. I got one of them earlier, next to Powerbomb Guardian, and so I'll be getting the remaining 2 right now. So, same path I took earlier in the run to get to where I went out of bounds. Probably a good time to raise a few more donations.
Okay, that sounds great. Miles Nerid donates $27. Longtime watcher of AGDQ, first time donating. From one Miles to another, wishing you great luck on the run. Donating $27 on my 27th birthday. Hope this gets read as a present. And save the animals. Azure Guy donates $20. Longtime viewer, first time donator. Echoes is one of my favorite games of all time, even though I'm not the best player in the world. I've seen a lot of crazy strategies with Prime games, but playing with just 99 health and still travel through the dark ether, you're the man, Miles.
Oh,
Yeah, there's someone who actually has died from that before. Fortunately, that did not happen to me just now.
And where coming here was easy and convenient, there's now a super missile door blocking the way back, because of course there is. So time for another trip out of bounds.
This is actually completely unnecessary because there's also a path with powerbomb doors. It's just actually faster to just go out of bounds. That's something you don't keep messing it up like I am doing now. But oh well, it's probably still faster. It also means you don't have to worry about getting power bombs, which is going to be annoying.
oh, perfect landing.
Yeah, so coming up is Chykka. So it's 2 separate really long boss fights. Chykka Larva is, well, not really going to explain it, so let's just get to the fight.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to go visit the ammo refill because I need full ammo for this fight. Now, Chykka Larva is really weird in that it's one of the few enemies in the game that is not specifically weak to Dark or Light Beam. So I'll be using both beams throughout this fight here.
Basically, the strategy for this fight is whenever Chykka Larva does the little rising out of the water, you can get a fully charged light beam shot. And the reason for the scan at the start of the fight is there's going to be times where Chykka Larva will jump out of the water or sort of hang on to one of the ledges of the platform, and you can lock onto the chest, which is the true weak point of Chykka Larva, only after scanning though.
Yeah, hitting the weak point on the chest will do twice as much damage, and it's just a little easier to hit if you're able to lock onto it.
It's quite a bit of damage there.
Actually, I should.
And Chykka Adult
Yeah,
is...
we mentioned earlier that one boss in the game is weak to Cannonball.
Hello?
What? That wasn't fully charged.
And
it's dead. Chykka Adult has 500 HP. I just did 500,000 damage to it, so.
we just killed 1,000 of them.
Yeah, so that's the only boss fight in the game, unless you include those like random splinters I killed earlier. That is weak to Cannonball. So it's really fortunate that's one of the few boss fights you actually do in low percent.
Yeah, Chykka would be an incredibly annoying boss otherwise because each one of the red glowing points on its wings would take 2 missiles to destroy, and since you only have 5 max ammo for your missiles, it would just be a lot of farming and waiting for energy.
Yeah, so I have to reload the room here in order to get the elevator to work. Because, what you're supposed to do is go collect the like Torvus energy. But if you do that, then you have to return it, and all the doors are blocked off until you do that. So.
Yeah, so the Dark Visor, it allows you to see these enemies that contain the Sky Temple keys, and without Dark Visor, you just can't damage them at all to sort of trigger them.
Yeah, so now these are all the items we're going to collect for the run. So now we're just going to collecting Sky Temple keys to head to the final boss rush.
So that's sort of the gist of Echo, is you spend half the game being able to start collecting Sky Temple keys, and then the other half actually collecting them.
Yep.
And then coming up, there's actually going to be a pretty neat shortcut that I like a lot that also skips a super missile door. Normally there's no elevator to go from upper Dark Torvus to lower Dark Torvus, but without a bounds, they'd say otherwise.
Not really an elevator, just another way to go down.
Yeah, like there's a Dark World room version of the elevator, except it's just a little room with an energy tank. But they left the connection to lower Torvus in this room, so I can load it and just go there from out of bounds. You can see the door frame right there, because for some weird reason they left the door frame there. Yep. We're gonna say hi to Grapple Guardian again. Unfortunately, this room takes a while to load. Goodbye.
Or Grapple Guardian.
He's sped up though. If you kill him any time other than the first time you trigger him, he doesn't even give you grapple beam. So yeah, this is just going to be another Sky Temple key collection if there's a donation or two to read.
Yeah, I actually forgot this key in a practice run yesterday.
Oh
I
my.
just went straight to the portal.
Just blame that on Dark Echoes.
Like, then I get to the end of the game, it's like, oh, I only have 8 keys. I can't do anything now.
Just blame it on Dark Echoes.
Yeah, but it would be a good time for some donations. There are some.
Let's see here. So, Anonymous donates $15. I forgot why I never finished this game as a kid. Then I saw the Hunter Ing and remembered why.
Yeah, those enemies can be really difficult if you don't know exactly how to deal with them.
Boxmeister donates $15. Woohoo! A Metroid run! This run looks hard enough to make Miles lose several years of his life over the course of it. Donation goes to saving the animals because all GDQ runners are beasts. Sarah T donates $25 for my mom who survived breast cancer, strong as Samus. Kill all the cancer and save all the animals.
Something you may have just seen is that door open instantly for me. That will happen for doors that were previously locked by like a missile shield or a power bomb shield or whatever. After you get rid of that shield, then Cannonball will be able to open that door. So like this door coming up had a power bomb shield on it, and so I'll be able to just roll up next to it and it opens. Doesn't do anything to it before you get rid of the shield, so it's not really useful at all, but it's kind of funny looking. Saves a little bit of time sometimes. No, that's actually 2 billion damage right there because res bits are 4 times weak to Cannonball.
Also, you've been noticing throughout most of the run, we've been Miles has been traveling around in Morph Ball. It's just generally faster to roll around, and Boost Ball makes you move faster than you can move running. So it's just faster to be in Morph Ball a lot of the time. It wouldn't be Metroid without you destroying glass hallways.
Yeah, pretty uneventful section right here. Just have to get the lower sanctuary key.
The second Sky Temple key in this area is notable, though, because it's supposed to be locked behind a boss, which is the Spider Guardian, but the same sort of out of bounds used earlier, right before the Annihilator and Quadraxis boss fight skip. That's the exact same area where the Sky Temple key is. So it's going to be the same glitch, but now Miles has Dark Visor, so he can actually collect the key.
I'm actually not doing it that way. I'm going to go there in the Dark World and do a trick to get over there from the Dark World.
Oh, right, DF's new strat.
It was my new strat.
Okay.
Well, just like he found an improvement over how to do it, though. So.
Thank you, DF.
So that's 3 out of 9. Save in this next room because it's always a good idea to save in this run. Just because you never know what could happen. Oh no. You have to do this for basically perfectly or they're gonna keep hitting you like they just did. Okay, I'm safe now.
So now it's just a quick trip back up to Upper Sanctuary, where the other Sky Temple key is, and then it's going to be moving on to Aegon, and probably the most interesting and eventful Sky Temple key collection will be in Temple Grounds.
Yeah, like There is a secret door involved in like every single Temple Ground Sky Temple key.
Pretty
and
much.
I don't have seekers.
Apparently, they really wanted to check to make sure that you had Seekers, the most useful item in the game. It's missiles, except you fire 5 of them, and they usually hit their target.
Times hit their target.
Yeah, so you're not supposed to be able to like get from one side of this room to the other, but Bounds changes that.
What will be done, though, is since there are like 2 sides of the room, both with bottomless pits, Miles is going to go back into the light world, then immediately back into the dark world to reset the terminal fall for that room, then go out of bounds and trigger a terminal fall on the other side of the room to get back there.
Yeah, the default terminal fall will put me on the side I was originally on. So I need to go into here and not do anything that would put terminal fall back on this side right here. That's bad.
First try.
I will say that I'm glad I had trouble with it now and not start the run where you're taking damage that entire time because you don't have light suit. So. Yeah, so that's Sanctuary pretty much done. Just go back to the light world and take the elevator right next to here to Aegon.
And the Aegon keys are pretty nice because they're both like right together in sort of the general vicinity of the dark pirate mining station area.
Yeah. Now, I will have to do something that I put off earlier, and that is fight Dark Samus 1. Because there is a Fireball track in the room that just does not work until after you fight Dark Samus and then leave and reload the room. And it's possible to get up that Spire track without it working, like this stupid bomb space jump and then screw attack bounce thing that I don't want to talk about because it sucks. So I'll just fight Dark Samus right here. Now you go down and then take an elevator up and then go fight Dark Samus, or you can just walk over your room out of bounds because it's slightly faster to do this.
What is that camera?
This could be.
Where is she?
This is terrible.
I can honestly say I've never seen the camera do that before.
I have once yesterday.
Oh no. GDQY.
So I actually have to be careful to not die here.
Normally this boss just evaporates to a power bomb.
Oh, crap.
Although it should be noted that even though Dark Samus has dark in the name, since it's a being from the light world, it's actually weak to dark beams.
It's actually not in this first fight.
Oh, it isn't?
No, it's just neutral to both. So congrats, you got to hear the Dark Samus theme.
Not as good as the Chykka adult theme that I wanted to hear more of.
I actually don't really like the Chykka adult theme that much. The Lyra
Wow.
theme's way better. You know, I'm a moron because I could have just screw attacked her. Oh well. I'm not used to actually having to try to fight her without a power bomb. So I just wasted a ton of time when I shouldn't have.
You just wanted to hear the theme.
Sure. Now I'm at like no ammo for everything, so that's cool.
There's an ammo station right by.
I actually don't know. Like, I don't think I...
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And running out of ammo isn't actually that big of a deal because when you're at 0 ammo, you can do a fully charged shot and that'll count as an uncharged shot from the weapon.
That's like, this part of the run just suddenly got a lot more dangerous than I thought it could be. So.
What? Here's another slow jump.
As long as I just complete the run, I'm fine.
Single segment marathon run.
Too early to like assume that'll happen.
There's still a lot of things that can go wrong in Sky Temple grounds.
So that key I just got, that is the key that does not exist unless you have power bombs. So I'm pretty sure you would still need power bombs even if that key did exist, but then you could get a power bomb expansion instead and not have to fight power bomb guardian, which would be a lot faster and a lot less annoying. But unfortunately, there's no choice.
And then coming up, there's a cannon, but that has to be avoided to maintain Cannonball.
Yeah, I want to keep Cannonball for the final bosses, just to make things a little easier.
Thankfully, we have this convenient attack that allows us to just fly across places.
Yeah, so this is the only part in the run where I have to like go out of my way to avoid a cannon, really. Let's just go here to warp to Great Temple.
And Great Temple is just going to be a fun time of translator doors everywhere, so it's just going to immediately be going out of bounds to skip one.
I want to mention that there's a giant visible block that in the game called the code is not the game code, but I hate when people say stuff like that, so the fact that I just said it myself makes me want to cry. But in the game's files, it's called Do Not Jump on Luminoth's Head in all caps. And I just jumped on his shoulder because they didn't actually make it big enough. I'm gonna fall, I think. Okay. So just have to get past the translator gate, unfortunately. Set the game here. The fun of Temple Ground and Sky Temple Keys begin, which is a lot of out of bounds everywhere, because there is so many doors and stuff stopping you from getting anywhere until the grounds.
Since Temple Grounds is supposed to sort of be the hub world, they gated it off in a way they thought was really well player-proof, but Screw Attack is gonna basically get past everything.
There we go, first try.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay. It is a long way down if you fall, and like you can get back up, it just takes forever. So you do not want to fall here. Now, you can get back in bounds right here, but it's easier if you don't, because if I keep like this as the active room basically, then it'll be easier to get back out of bounds again coming up.
Okay, so right now the game doesn't actually think he's in this room.
Yeah, and so that makes a collision easier to just put me right back out of bounds again, because this game is ridiculous when you know how to break it. It's like it's pretty good in like casual play, but if you know what you're doing, you can just do so much to this game.
To be fair, that's a lot of games. Oh, hey, it's a secret door.
Yeah, so back in Blight World, and I'm going to get out of bounds immediately again. So
To leave through that area, there's a gate that needs to be dropped down by using seeker missiles.
yeah, one quick note. If I can actually undoor it, I have to make sure I open and close this door, which will make the other room disappear, just no longer visible. If I do not do that, then the game will crash when I try to go to this next room, and I have to avoid that. Out-of-bounds screw attacks are always a terrible idea.
But this is just going to screw attack right into a cutscene trigger.
Yeah.
And this is the cutscene trigger that spawned the Emerald Gate in front of the entrance to Sanctuary.
Yeah. You could see it for like a tenth of a second over in the corner. Now, right here, I have to go in and immediately leave, because I touch a trigger that changes what layers are loaded in this room, because I will not be able to break this gate until I do that. There's like a different unbreakable gate there originally. Now, coming up is one of the best parts of the game, because I do not have Dark Suit, and there's these things called Ink Claws, which do a ton of damage to you. Now, you're also immune to the light with Light Suit, but the sound they make is still there. And they'll continue to make the sound until I manage to pull this trick off, which can be really difficult at times. The best sound. Nope.
So here we're in a small area that you can barely get a screw attack off.
Yeah, normally they put triggers inside morph ball tunnels that stop you from unmorphing if you'd be able to unmorph otherwise, but I guess they just forgot for that one, which is really fortunate. So about to get the 8th Sky Temple key, which is actually numbered 9, I think, but who cares about the numbers? Yeah, so I'm doing the same thing again where I keep the active room on the room behind me, which will make it easier to get back out of bounds. It's not necessary, it just makes it a lot easier. Usually. What's going on here? Okay, I was honestly really worried about getting stuck there. Oh well. Okay, I thought it was going to take a lot longer than that for me to get back up.
So when you fall in the Aether and you reach the bottom, you fall a little bit into it so that you have to slowly float up while you're still stuck in it. So you just have to wait until you can jump out of it.
Yeah, so right now I'm just going to go back to the light world, get out of bounds again, and go back to the ship, save and refill my ammo. So that'll be a good time for some donations.
Okay, thank you very much. Kirby Masta donates $100. Hey Miles, Kirby Masta here. Can you please stop giving me heart attacks after that incredibly stressful Annihilator skip and all of the out-of-bounds screw attacks? Thanks. Also, good job. Donation towards Runner's Choice, even though I don't like it.
Thanks.
Black League donates $75. Metroid Prime is my favorite series of games, and watching Miles run Prime 1 got me into AGDQ some years ago. I lost my mother to cancer in November, and I miss her every day. I hope this donation helps prevent another family from going through what we have. Good luck with the run, Miles, and keep up the good work, everyone. Robbie PB donates $150. Currently waiting to see the doctor for my yearly cancer screening. Feeling great after 2.5 years cancer-free. Glad I can break up the long wait until my appointment with such a wonderful event and give my money to help others. James Solomon donates $100. First time watching a 6% run of Echoes. I know from MP1 experience how stressful being out of bounds is, but I can't imagine doing it in a morph ball in Dark Aether for that long, and in a marathon. Definitely going to be a memorable moment. Thanks, Miles.
Casually, I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, but traversing out of bounds in Echoes is significantly easier than it is in Prime 1, because one of the major changes from Prime 1 to 2 is that after you walk off of a ledge in Prime 2, you have full control over Samus, where if you walk off a ledge in Prime 1, you're stuck falling in that same direction.
I mean, it's still really difficult to navigate out of bounds, especially if you don't really know what you're doing, but it's just even harder in Prime 1. Yeah, I'm out of bounds again. What a surprise. But this is the last outbound trip of the run, basically. I'll get back in bounds very briefly, but then get right back out again.
For some reason, they thought locking the final area of the game behind the worst and one of the most useless upgrades in the game was a good idea. So just seeker locks everywhere.
I still have to get past the super missile door here too, though. So now I'm going to keep this room as the active room again. What's going to happen is it will load whichever door I'm closest to, basically. So I'm going to get closer to a different door in that room, and it'll unload the room I'm in right now. Now, I am barely able to do it. It'll happen right as I reach the wall. And so if you don't know what's happening, it'll look like I'm just walking straight through the wall, because the room just unloads right when you reach it. So yeah, I got closer to this door than the other door. So it started loading this room instead. There's a bit faster strat than this, but I'm a coward. To not want to mess things up at the very end of the game.
And then this is the entrance to the final area, which is basically just the boss battle.
There's a save station here which normally I actually skip because the final bosses are easy, but there is a chance it could crash, so better safe than sorry here.
Never know what happened in a marathon.
So I have very few upgrades, no energy tanks, no extra missiles, and these final bosses are all going to be incredibly easy.
So this first fight here is just pretty straightforward.
That was perfect.
That was a good shot.
And this is where Cannonball really comes in handy.
Yeah, because nothing can hurt me in this phase.
So here we just need to spawn 11 tentacles and then just destroy them.
And for the final
Now
phase,
you give me power bombs.
this is really weird and convoluted how you're supposed to do it normally, but right under his chin, you can get into his hitbox with screw attack, and that does a lot of damage.
Yeah. It's not the most consistent source of damage, but it is very powerful.
That's it.
And there's going to be one more fight after this during the escape sequence.
Yep, want to be a Metroid game about a escape sequence.
Now, right after I beat that boss, it saved a checkpoint, so I'll be able to reload from after that boss if I die, but that should absolutely not happen.
And basically what's going to happen with this boss is how with the last Dark Samus fight, Miles mentioned at the end that she could be damaged by Screw Attack. You can damage this Dark Samus with Screw Attack too, although she can do a couple of things that are very unfortunate and I won't mention for fear of jinxing it.
What the
This is, I shouldn't have mentioned anything.
I did too many shots. I fired 11. I was supposed to only fire 10. That's the most stupid way of screwing that up I have ever seen. I am cursed on this fight. I could not get a good fight in Marathon. Wow. That.
So like
I'm going to be made fun of for a while for this.
So like we mentioned, she's weak to Dark Beam for a reason.
So now I have to do this fight completely normally like a moron because I can't count. So what was supposed to happen is I was supposed to just keep trying to screw attack her, but started this phase early, oops. Oh well, I don't care.
Yeah, there is one iffy thing with trying to screw attack her though, because once she's at a certain damage threshold, she can just decide to randomly go into this phase. What an exciting final boss fight.
With a timer going on as well.
I was almost tempted to just go ahead and die and restart the fight, but I wanted to keep the single segment. Whatever.
Okay.
Time, that's it. It was about 1:43.7 when I think I was finished.
Yeah.
So that's Echoes. I have finished the game.
Single segment in the marathon.
Wow, I actually finished that. Well, that was incredibly stressful, so thanks everyone for watching this. Glad I managed to not completely embarrass myself on this run. I did finish, that was my goal. Finished without resetting, which was great. 10 minutes under your estimate. Once again, cannot fight Dark Samus properly, but who cares? So I guess that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Miles, for that run of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes low percent. That was really impressive. Coming up next, we have the bonus game that you all donated for, Super Metroid Rotation with Feral 5X. And we are getting a lot of donations here, so I'm sorry if not all of them can't be read on the screen, but know that your donations are coming in and being counted up with all the things that we're working with now. So in the meantime, let's get through a few comments here. Gavorkna donates $400, making good on a bet with a friend. I found this event a few years ago and haven't missed it. Thanks to everyone involved for your efforts. Kill the cancer, save the animals. I'm going to try my best here, but Magnus von Gus Karlstrom donates $10. Kenny here. In GDQ tradition, bonus donation incoming if donation reader pronounces my name correctly, because I'm pretty sure I was the first one to do that all those years and marathons ago. Echo's run is definitely the time to donate and putting it towards Super Metroid rotation. Well, thank you very much, Magnus.